Hello and welcome to another episode of Money Moves Mzansi with your host, myself, Mpilo and Dlamini. And so today's episode is about the month in Mirage, right? And let me explain to you. So you know that feeling. End of the month hits, you've just been paid, everything is going well, you feel that you're in control. You're in control for maybe a day, a couple of hours, maybe even a week, and you're still in control. But when you fast forward maybe 10 to 15 days after payday, things are spiraled out of control again. You are now holding on for a prayer, like holding on to the prayer, hoping that something's going to happen, and no emergency takes place in between that last week, what we call it Mampara week in South Africa, right? And and now you're wondering really every single month, I know you've been there, where does my money go? Right? You've pulled bank statements, you've asked everybody, you haven't seen an advisor, and they've told you where your money goes. So I'm gonna just come and explain to you just a very different, simple way if you understand. What happens in that beginning when you're feeling in control and the debit orders are going out and there's money in the account? That is actually called the month in Mirage, right? None of that money is actually yours. So the debt is not yours. The money you're about to spend on your living expenses is not yours. You know, and probably, very likely, if you come to this podcast, you don't even pay yourself through an investment. And every single month you see your money go to different people, and none of it stays with you. Am I lying? Am I right? And so now I'm telling you, with that said, please welcome to our latest episode of Money Moves Mzansi, where we are turning income into structure and structure into wealth. So the first point I really want to get into is the illusion of security, right? What income creates that illusion of security. Your capacity to spend money increases as much as your income increases. But you'll find that you're having the same problems at 75,000 Rand that you were having at 25,000 Rand a month income. A 2x, 3x increase in your income, and yet you're still having the same problems. The solution is not really earning more money, but implementing a structure into what you do with your money, right? And my second point I really want to get to is fixed costs, right? Your fixed costs are the hard bills you can't avoid. Your bond, your car, your insurance. These feel non-negotiable because most of the time they aren't. But honestly, most of the time you just upgraded your lifestyle a little too early. You don't need to move from your student car to the big car so soon, right? But you did it, and now you're moving for premium everything, so now everything is more expensive. And then my second point I really want to get into around the income mirage is third really is lifestyle inflation, right? We've discussed lifestyle inflation in our previous episode, the income illusion, and we'll continue to discuss lifestyle inflation moving forward. And you get the raise, but your bills immediately go up with it. You now have more subscriptions. You're now going to better restaurants. You're now buying a better car, for instance. And your day-to-day expenses have skyrocketed because now you're paying more on petrol, right? And what you're not realizing is that your expenses are outstrapping your income in terms of growth due to this due to the lifestyle inflation, right? And that's what I'm really trying to get at. And then third, really what we want to get at, or fourth, is micro leaks in our system, right? Micro leaks are those small transactions. It's the 20 Rand here for a cold drink, the 40 Rand there for coffee, the the McDonald's on a random day because you forgot your lunch. These little expenses add up, and you'll find that in your micro leak type expenditures, you might be spending 5% of your net salary on this because you don't notice them because they're too small to really register psychologically as major expenses, right? And but what people don't understand is that small repeated transactions are really emphasizing that we have a structure, we have a leak within our income structure where we are supposed to turning income into structure and structure into wealth. Something between our income and structure pipeline. There's a hole in it, and that's what micro leaks really are, right? And that's what you have to begin to understand, that it's not 100 Rand on beers because I had a long day. It's 100 Rand from myself that I haven't invested yet. I'm robbing myself. I'd like to keep that in mind, that sometimes these little expenditures is like robbing yourself. And then fifth, really where our stress really becomes, overwhelming and mounting is the debt, and debt that owns the future you and that controls, that robs the current you of money, the credit card, the store account, your personal loans, it sounds manageable at the time, a 5,000 Rand micro loan to help you bridge for a month when you're only going to pay 1.2 for the next 6 months to pay it off. It's not a big deal until it becomes a big deal. The store account that gets out of control, because every month you're buying and paying because you're trying to build a credit profile. But then all of a sudden, now you've bought something more expensive. Or even you've taken out a phone, taken out a contract phone. And all these things build up, right? They're all causing a very heavy burden on your singular income. Let's not forget, as a professional, you are largely dependent on this one income, the singular income. Regardless of if it's a 6-figure income, a 5-figure income, this is the only income you might get once a month. And if you're not paying for everything and then keeping some of it, what's happening to your income? That's the question you need to be asking yourself, right? And that is the point of this episode, to explain to you that by being too secure in our incomes and not managing our fixed costs, by not managing our lifestyle inflation, by not managing our micro leaks, by not managing our debt, we're actively robbing our future selves of money. We're destroying our financial structure and leaving ourselves in this position where we're not able to manage in the long term, And these payments, especially on the minimum payments, right, these really feel manageable, but that's what's robbing you. I'd like you to imagine that soft bill debt that you don't need is you robbing yourself of investment income. Lifestyle inflation, micro leaks, and the debt that owns you. These are soft debts, these are soft bills, they're not like having to pay your house or your car or to buy your groceries. These are more manageable. And I like to understand that you cut some of these out and you're suddenly going to see your money looking a little bit different. But now, let me now break down the difference between most of us and wealth building professionals, right? Most of us have a spend first mentality. Our relationship with money can be defined as earn, spend, save, right? We're spending, but most of the time we spend all of what we're earning, so there's nothing left for saving. Am I lying? Am I lying? And what the difference is between the wealth builder and the everyday person is that they're allocating, they're automating their payments. Debit orders aren't just for paying your debts, they're not just for paying your car, your house. You can debit order yourself, guys. And that debit order goes straight into an allocation for savings and investments. They are building investment portfolios for themselves. The same way that a micro leak causes a continuous build up and structurally takes away money from you, small investments over time are the building blocks of your wealth. That's how you're going to take advantage of your compound interest. Starting to invest with 500 Rand when you're 20 will bring you the same type of money as starting to invest with 2,000 Rand when you're in your 30s. And 5,000 in your 40s, because time value over money, with inflation, with compound interest, you're going to be seeing that the money you saved when you're younger is lasting longer. And they have emergency funds, right? Like Save First people have emergency funds. They also having long-term assets. An emergency fund is critical. If your car breaks, you need new tires. You might have a real emergency, a medical emergency, a financial emergency. Where do you turn? Your long-term assets as well. Are you overcapitalizing on your bond? Are you paying a lot more of your bond, or are you paying your movable asset more? As professionals in South Africa, we've fallen into this trap where we're spending around about the same amount of money, if not more, on cars as opposed to houses, right? And then, so now what their mentality is that they're going to allocate and automate and then spend what's left. Where we are spending, at the same time we're spending what we should be paying allocating and paying our hard bills with, we're spending it already. I just now wanted to move on to what we can do in terms of solutions, right? And I have 5, maybe 6 solutions. 6, number one is always go see an advisor. This platform is designed for you to understand why you probably need to be speaking with a financial services provider and a specialist that you might have a good relationship with. But let's then get into what you can do on your personal front. So number one is to cap your lifestyle expenses, self-explanatory. Number two is to automate your investments, right? If it goes like a debit order, then it's not there to be spent anymore. Number three is separating your spending, saving, and investment accounts, right? You should then have an account your income goes into, and then if this is your main spending account, your investing account should be separate, as well as your savings account. Because savings forms in between spending and investment. You need something that's going to keep you strong, your buffer between 3 to 6 months in terms of your emergency savings. Fourth is to review your fixed costs biannually. See if there's maybe a cheaper medical aid option you can take at work. See if you might be able to change short-term insurance providers and try and manage those bills. It's not the same as a long-term insurance. You're not sitting there. Don't wait for long for the rewards they're going to give you. You can build your own rewards in your pocket through savings, right? And fifth, I want you to track your net worth. Track the equity you have in your house. Track your investment portfolio if you've got one. Track your equity in your car. If you've paid off your car, that's an asset. As much as it's a depreciating asset, it's an asset that you own. Once you've paid off your property, that's a property that you own, right? And in closing, I really want to explain to you that you do not necessarily need a higher income if you do not have structure. Having a higher income without a structure just means that you're going to have more money to blow, more money to spend, and less to show for it. What you need is an internal allocation structure for your own money, a cash flow structure. So income, savings, expenses, and investments and liabilities. How do I pay these off from my singular income? And it's understanding that you have to build the structure yourself. With an advisor, without an advisor, structure for your income is critical. And then once you fix your income structure, I'm telling you, I swear to you, that your money will start working for you. Your money will start working properly, and you'll start to see more of your money and what you're doing and where it's going, because you've built a structure, a pressurized structure where you know what's happening. And that is my story for the day. My name is Mzansi, and I will be seeing you on the next episode of Money Moves Mzansi.